Hi! So, shall we talk about the last Tarantino movie, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? So I was really expectant, really hoping to see this movie. I mean, this is Tarantino's take on Hollywood, so that is irresistible. I am a fan of Tarantino. I've seen most of his movies. I'm not going to say all of them, but I'm pretty sure like it was 90%. So some of his movies are some of my favorite movies, like Jackie Brown or Inglourious Bastards, or I don't know, even Django is a fabulous movie. Anyway, what do you expect from a Tarantino movie? I mean, there are elements that are his signature, and what are those? Very, very round characters, very in-depth characters. You get to know them very well. You get to be on their side. They're a little wacky. They're very set on their ways, but you get to know them really well, and you get to care for them and to care for their struggle. What else? You have sort of disregard for the rules of mise en place, like and the sequence of a scene. The scenes are long, the dialogues are really, really long. I mean, forget about that idea of coming in late and going out early. It doesn't happen in a Tarantino movie. You have very long dialogues. I mean, you gotta be a great actor to sustain that. That happens here. And then you have usually a pretty great script. Usually, we'll get into that later. And you have, well, one scene or many scenes of big, humongous amount of violence. I mean, very explicit violence, extreme violence. Not something that I am a fan of, but in Tarantino, it kind of comes off as a, you know, deserved a discharge of energy that we expect and we need. So, and it's extremely entertaining, which is like the long dialogues. I mean, it's always extremely entertaining, which is a very big talent of Tarantino. He does things that are not exactly by the book, you know, if you know American cinema, but it kind of works. So even the very explicit violence works, and you have all that in this movie. You have this in this movie, but I wouldn't say that this is probably one of the, and I'm sorry to say this is probably one of the, well, I don't want to say it like this, but this is not one of Tarantino's best works. Let's put it that way. So let's get to the review. I'm going to start with the good stuff and finish off with the bad stuff, which, well, if you know your arguments rules, you know that means I don't actually recommend it, because usually you end with the ideas that you want the audience to remember. So, yeah, I'm so sorry to say this, because I really am a fan of Tarantino, and but I'm going to explain myself. So the good stuff is incredible actors. I mean, always incredible actors. In this case, it's Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio. Brad and Leo, I mean, we have a long relationship. I've been seeing them for more than 20 years. Brad and Leo are absolutely amazing. The characters are amazing. They just did a great job with them. They developed them. It's flawless. Like, it's amazing what they did with them. It's so believable. I mean, they portray these old Hollywood glories. There's nothing to say about it. They're absolutely incredible. They're believable. You get to care for them. You get to know them in depth. Incredible. There was one scene that I felt that Brad Pitt wasn't exactly protected by the editing, or, you know, those long dialogues. I mean, he deserved to do that scene again, but it doesn't taint his performance. It's just something I felt. Probably you wouldn't feel it, you wouldn't see it. I felt that there was one scene that he deserved to be more protected. I don't think it was his problem, but what do I know? I mean, I'm going maybe a little out of my range here, maybe, or maybe not. I don't know. I felt that he should have been more protected in one scene. Leo, on the other hand, is wow. I mean, for me, it's Oscar worthy. I mean, he just portrays this egotistical and yet, insecure actor, so incredibly on the verge of cartoonish, but not quite that much, and it's always on that little fine line that you just love, and he was incredible, and for me he deserved a nomination for an Oscar. Seriously, I don't know what the competition is yet, but he's good enough for that. Not that Brad wasn't. The character was just different, was a little more toned down and a little more well, I wouldn't say believable, because he's pretty amazing. I mean, pretty amazing characters. And it's still one of the best parts. These are characters that Tarantino made up. Okay, the writers made up. Actually, he wrote it. These characters never existed, and he just builds this whole career for this actor and for this stuntman. He just builds him a career based on other examples in Hollywood, and that is amazing. I mean, that is amazing. That is amazing craftsmanship, amazing study, and amazing development, amazing everything. I mean, he goes to the point of doing a test screen for a famous movie that Steve McQueen did. Anyway, you're gonna see it if you like your Hollywood history and your Hollywood characters and your everything about Hollywood. You'll just have a good time watching this. That is the best part of this movie. He actually just builds up a whole career for these two men, and it's flawless. And he puts on screen portraits of Steve McQueen, of obviously Sharon Tate, even Bruce Lee, and you just have fun. You're just sitting at the movies going, oh wow, yeah, cool. Well, I had never seen them that way. So this is cool, okay? But then the bad part is that nothing really happens until the end. Like, you have 2 hours and 15 minutes of character presentation. This kind of character presentation, which is very thrilling for me who likes Hollywood, but for a general audience, it's like, what the hell is happening? I mean, you could argue that the plot points are, the hitchhiker and the introduction of those characters. And if you know the real story, because he mixes these fictional characters with real characters, as I've said, Steve McQueen, Sharon Tate, all of those real characters in Hollywood, and this is based on a true story, if you know what I mean. I don't want to spoil it for you, but you know what I mean if you read the synopsis, and if you know your Hollywood history, you know the general story, you know what is supposed to happen generally. But I didn't know the details of the story. I mean, I'm not an American audience. I'm not, expert in Hollywood history. I don't know what happened at each moment. I don't know the details of the development of this story. So I kind of even failed to recognize the bad guy on screen in his 15 seconds on screen. I failed to recognize him. I didn't realize that was the bad guy. I was like, huh? And then I had to Google the little details at the end so that I would, get the full impact of the movie. And this is the big flaw. I mean, this is not Second World War, okay? So we are not all versed in these details. And so kind of flies by us. Like, you get 2 hours and 15 minutes of a fabulous character presentation, and then it's like half an hour, 40 minutes, because this is a 3-hour long film. 40 minutes of action. Crazy, incredible, massive, amazing action, but yet still, like, nothing happened before that. Like, And so, as much as I had fun watching Sharon Tate and Steve McQueen and the Playboy Mansion and all of those little details and the day-to-day of an actor and of a stuntman, and to me it was entertaining because of that, and I can sustain that. As a movie, the rhythm and it's just slow paced. It just, nothing happens. You keep waiting for the story to happen. You keep not understanding. I mean, I can imagine that anyone who knows the little details of this story goes, starts recognizing the characters and going, oh my god. I mean, I read it someplace that happened, but I didn't know the details, the little details of the story in either the somebody, I don't know, in Asia or in Africa. So, somebody said in IMDb that this movie just got made because it was Tarantino's. The script wouldn't have made it past, a studio if it wasn't Tarantino. Definitely, this is an author's movie, and you go at your own risk. I wouldn't say I recommend it because of that. To me, it's really well crafted in the history it brings up and the character development and in the whole research that was needed for this. This is amazing. And so it is a little sad for me that it isn't a little more entertaining. But again, it's an author's film. I would see it again. I'm a fan of Tarantino. I like his style. I like Hollywood. To me, it was entertaining. I'm not sure it would be for the average audience, so I'm not sure I would recommend it for the average audience. That is all. Tarantino is a brilliant guy. I hope that he dazzles me the next time. He didn't, because I had to Google the details to actually get the full impact of the story. We shouldn't need to do that, but maybe that was his point. I don't know. I think he's brilliant. I'm still going to risk the next movie and the next movie and the next movie because I think he's worth it. Again, actors are flawless. I mean, if you want to see gorgeous Brad Pitt and shirtless Brad Pitt, just go. Well, you're going to see a drunk Leo DiCaprio, but still got its charm. Again, I would recommend it for anyone who's a Hollywood fan, a Tarantino fan. Yes. Not the average audience, not the best Tarantino movie ever. Go at your own risk, okay? But go to the movies. Thank you for watching.